Live music concerts. You love standing around being yelled at? Me too. These things are a spectacle. The time when you finally have the chance to see your favorite artist in person. 30 feet away. Depending on the artist, they can range from just a basic show to a full-blown production. It's insane. But some concerts can get really out of hand, and the people attending these things are a mixed bag. One minute you're vibing out, and the next you're standing beside someone who probably shouldn't be there. So what are these mind-blowing concerts I'm talking about? How far have we really come? And tell me a concert experience you've had, if you have one. Let me know down below before we start. Cause in this video, I'm gonna be going over some of the coolest and craziest concerts to ever grace the planet, and hopefully go to one myself at the end. And if you enjoyed this video, then consider subscribing. It means a ton. Anyways, let's get into this. Enjoy! Tell me, have you ever been standing around your home and thought, I should really pay someone to do this? And then you do, and if that's not enough, they throw in some ear damage as well, on them. What a steal. You know when a tour goes on for really long, they separate them into segments, and they call them legs. I never understood that. Why do they call them that? What, are they part of some fantastic beast? Is the tour alive? Yeah, that's what I want. For you to go to a concert and the ground starts walking. The concert is such an exciting time for me. Being able to see the artists I really love do what they do best on that stage. It's one of the best memories a music fan can have. So many artists do tons of things for their shows, and I find it really interesting that even though the idea is the same, seeing the artist live, the experience itself can be drastically different across people and genres, such as EDM fans with raving, rock fans with moshing, rap and pop fans singing along, and nightcore fans not existing. There's many types of these things: classical shows, spoken word, farewell tours. But before you even start the show, you need to set the mood. You can't just go head first into this thing. And they do that by having openers, the people that come out before the main event. These are almost always a mixed bag, usually picked by the artists themselves. Sometimes they can be really good, getting people that match their own style of stuff, or having someone they want to put on display. But like, you know why you're here. I know why I'm here. Stop beating around the bush and light this thing. The weirdest things can happen at these too. People throwing stuff on stage, artists calling people out, lots and lots of ranting. Tyler does a whole stand-up show in between his sets. But on the opposite, you can get some of the coolest experiences there, like seeing full stage productions, effects on that huge screen, artists bring you on stage to sing along or do the classic pausing the song for the crowd to fill in. Some artists do it for like half the song. Who's really doing the show at that point? I love this clip of Kanye just using the force on this guy. Remember this clip of DMX? Every time I see it, it's always the same caption: DMX performs in front of the world. Well, it wasn't really the world, merely the country, at the music festival Woodstock 99. The Woodstock Festival goes as far back to the original in 1969 and was a pivotal moment in the history of pop music, popularizing the idea of doing large outdoor events to showcase multiple big acts. Labeled 3 days of peace and music, it was also a catalyst for the counterculture generation, aka the hippie era, spreading messages of equality and unity. It was also raining that day. Over 400,000 people came out to the original show, and every 10 years an anniversary show would be done, culminating with the big two, Woodstock 94 and Woodstock 99, the one just mentioned. Woodstock honestly is a thing in itself, with some good and lots of bad happening, so I'm not gonna get into it here, maybe another time. But what I can tell you is mud. Lots and lots of mud. Some even thrown on stage. What a show. But the live show isn't all just for spectacle. A lot of artists actually really depend on the concert to fund themselves and their music. With the rise of streaming, artists are getting even smaller and smaller payouts from their labels. Of course, it depends on the artist and their deals, but generally, labels make majority of their money selling you the music and getting streams on streaming sites, which leaves the artists to find other ways to make their fat stacks. This comes in many ways, like doing merch or sponsorships, but the largest and most stable one for many is through live shows. Live shows started out a long time ago, technically back in the 17th and 18th century, where guys like Mozart and orchestras were doing symphonies in front of small crowds and such. Throughout the years, more people and events sought to put entertainers at the forefront. Talk shows, music television, and venues dedicated to putting on new acts. Lots of TV shows helped push peeps to various heights, but one of the most important forces in it was a little TV program called The Ed Sullivan Show. The Ed Sullivan Show was a variety show that aired from June 1948 to 1971. Hosted by Ed, this was a show used to broadcast talented people of all walks and put them on stage to be shown to all of America. A lot of prominent people got their start on here, or was featured at some point. Elvis Presley, the Jackson 5, the Supremes, Stevie Wonder, and the Beach Boys, to name a few. But arguably, one of the most important acts on the show was the Beatles. Ugh. The Beatles back then were in a league of their own, a British rock band consisting of members John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. After their appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show, their popularity in the US skyrocketed to the point these guys were recognized the world over and would mark the peak in the phenomenon known as Beatlemania. This was insane. The group being bombarded with screaming fans both in concert and on the day-to-day. The sensation around these guys was on a different level, never seen before, viewing these guys almost as deities, some even meeting them believing they had supernatural healing powers. Seriously, no joke. I kinda got sprained in the ankle here. You guys think you could help me out? I don't think there was anywhere these guys could go without being instantly recognized, John going as far to say that they are more popular than Jesus, a remark he got a ton of backlash for and apologized later, aka he got canceled, but in like 1960. And all this in a time before social media and the internet. Wow, people lived like that back then? The cavemen. But after getting tired of moving around via armored car, not being able to hear themselves while performing, and getting free cardio exercises every time they left the house, the boys understandably grew tired of their pedestal and made the executive decision after their 1966 album Revolver that they would retire from touring. This move would allow them to be more creative in the studio, allowing them to do sounds and ideas not replicable on stage. The album directly after that move ended up being their critically acclaimed Sgt. Pepper's album, but that's a can of worms for another day. Another space in the festival scene are benefit concerts. These are concerts designed to help raise money for a specific cause, similar to those benefit group songs like We Are the World, but as a concert. Some notable concerts being the Concert for New York, founded by Paul McCartney, to help honor the victims and first responders of the 9/11 attacks. There was 2005's Live Aid, 8 concerts around the world performing at the same time, but that stemmed from the original Live Aid, a benefit concert in 1985. Both aimed to tackle the problems of famine and poverty in various African countries like Ethiopia. The original Live Aid had a bunch of top-notch performers, including Sade, Phil Collins, David Bowie, Elton John, The Who, and even Queen. Queen would actually go on to deliver one of their most iconic performances here. There's also a lot of controversy surrounding these two, claiming the money wasn't even going to their respective causes, performances not being censored on TV, and MTV cutting away during crucial moments to do ad breaks. What? MTV, don't ever change.
Package for Mr. Bites?
Okay. What's here today? It's my tickets. Finally, I get to go see Pogo Larry and all the hype around him. Why do they call him that? Well, I guess we're gonna find out, aren't we? You know, the first concert I ever went to wasn't even for an artist, it was for a fucking video game soundtrack. Can you believe that? I know, coolest guy in the room here. I don't know, they weren't really my thing back then. Also because I had no money. But now I'm totally down. I've been going to a couple this year so far, hopefully more in the second half. Maybe I'm just making up for the C-vid. I'm convinced I'm just never gonna see a Kanye concert in my life. JIK, no more cursing, no old songs, broken mics, glub go gab galab. Yeah, I didn't forget. The closest thing to an OG experience would have been that Free Larry Hoover concert he had with Drake, which I watched online because I'm poor. Speaking of being broke, these tickets are getting crazy expensive nowadays, eh? The weekend's prices were shared all over $1,000. It was either the house or the show. See ya. Kendrick Lamar and Rage Against the Machine's tours are both hovering around the 500 plus mark. At least Rage is going to charity. Kendrick's is going towards paying those taxes. But with all this money talk, how much do these guys really make? Obviously, it varies per artist, but touring in itself is not a milli, but a billion-dollar industry, with good tours getting from 10 million to 100 million plus. But with that, you might be wondering, what's the highest grossing tour ever? Like, what made the most money? Well, as of right now, that title belongs to Ed Sheeran with his Divide tour, which went from 2017 to 2019. You want to guess how much this thing made? I'll give you a second. Would you have guessed 500 million? Because you're wrong, it's actually 700 million. And by association, also holds the record for most attended tour with 8.5 million. Really? You guys gave it to him? Alright then. The naming of these things can also be slightly interesting. Usually they're associated with whatever album they're doing. Sweetener for Sweetener, Dangerous for Dangerous, Heroin for Heroin, standard stuff. Speaking of dangerous, one of the most infamous clips of Michael is from here, with him coming out of the floor and doing nothing for what feels like forever. People cheering, screaming, a couple even fainting. Imagine paying tons of money to see somebody and immediately fainting, missing the whole show. That wall of balance is looking pretty dangerous right now. Some peeps go slightly different. Katy Perry's California California Dreams tour for her Teenage Dream album. Weird Al Yankovic's Running with Scissors into Touring with Scissors. And then there's the left field stuff like Drake's 2013 Would You Like a Tour? I've always hated that name to this day, man. To this day! I think he announced it on Twitter and he just went with it. There's Sum 41's Don't Call It a Sumback tour, oh my god. And one of my personal favorites, the British rock band Jethro Tull with Oh No, Not Another 20 Years of Jethro Tull. What is the longest running tour? Well, the punk rock band The Ramones has to be in there for sure. Regarded as the first true punk rock band, they got their name from, wouldn't you know it, Paul McCartney. He is living rent-free in this video, who, to avoid mass hysteria, would check into hotels as Paul Ramone, so each member of this band would change their last names to the same thing. These guys would perform virtually non-stop for 20 years straight, performing a total of 2,263 concerts, and were awarded the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. Nice. Just out of curiosity, I wonder what some of their OG names were. John William Cummings? His last name is Cummings? He's Cummings! Don't even get me started on Joey.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Pogo Larry! Couldn't make it, so here's Accordion Joe!
Whitey sucks!
Come on guys, mud, really? Well anyways, thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go get some $300!